What's up, everybody? Are you in a situation where you feel like you might be in the wrong job for you, or maybe it is the right job for you, but you're not really sure? And if it is the wrong job for you, like what is the right job for you? Because your track record so far tells you that this is not a good fit. Like you're the one that picked this job and you thought it would be a good fit. So can you even trust yourself to find something else that will be a good fit? Maybe you have a string of bad jobs that you've been in and it's just like they keep getting worse. And so you're like, I don't trust myself at all. How can I trust myself to find a job that I want? If this resonates, today's episode is for you, my friend. Before I get into that, let me introduce myself. My name is Amber Deibert. I'm a performance coach, and I help enterprise and strategic account executives with their mindset and their productivity. And I am working with so many people who are in this situation right now, who are thinking about switching jobs, but they don't know if they should switch jobs, and they feel like the job they have might be a bad fit. But then thinking about finding a new job sounds horrible, and how can they even trust themselves that maybe they're going to find the right thing? That's exactly what we're going to talk about today. I've talked about this topic in bits and pieces on other episodes, but it's important enough that I'm giving it its own episode. Drum roll, please. So today I'm going to introduce to you a very scientific framework that I came up with in my own brain, and I call it humans as plants. I probably should pick a new name for it. It doesn't sound very good. I call it humans are like plants. Okay, we're going to go with it. So either way, this is the framework. I like to think about humans kind of like plants. And if you are watching the YouTube right now, you can see my office. I have a number of plants. In fact, I just added a new plant to my shelf that's, I don't think it's even a pothos, but it's kind of a viney plant like a pothos. So to the one side of me, and you can just trust me if you're listening to the podcast episode here, to the one side of me, I have a snake plant. And on the other side of me, I have this beautiful, tall, gorgeous bird of paradise. And my snake plant is really far from the window. It gets barely any light. It needs barely any water, and it's thriving. It's so fun to look back at past episodes of this podcast and see how small my plant was and how much bigger it's gotten since we've been here. On the other hand, I have this bird of paradise, and this thing, I wouldn't say it's finicky, but it has demands, okay? It wants a lot of water. It does not want fertilizer. It does not like fertilizer. It wants a lot of water. It wants a humid environment. It needs a lot of sunshine. And it's a little bit particular about what it needs. So I think about people the same way. I have some sellers who are like, if you just give me clear expectations, this is what they would say to their manager. If you give me clear expectations, you tell me exactly what you want, exactly what the target is, and then just leave me the F alone, you're going to get fantastic results. I just want autonomy. I want to be able to determine my own destiny. I want to be able to do my own thing. Tell me what you need. I'll reach out to you if I need anything. Otherwise, you can just trust that I'm getting the job done. They want to be very hands-off. And on the other hand, I have a lot of sellers who are like, I want connection. I want support. I don't necessarily need you to tell me what to do, but I want to be able to bounce ideas off of you. And I want to be able to check in with you and tell you my ideas and get your ideas and just check in with you to make sure that this is okay and I'm on the right path. And I want to be able to call you maybe every single day and just be like, hey, here's what's happening. I need a quick 5 minutes. Here's what's up. Here's my questions for you. Okay, I'm good. And I'm on my way. So there are different kind of people who need different kinds of support. And are they wrong for being those kind of people? No, I don't think so. So I like to compare people to plants. Here, insert my very scientific methodology. And no offense to you people who want autonomy, I'm going to call you my cactuses. On the one side, we have cactuses. Cactuses don't need a lot. Like they thrive with very little. They get very little water, very little, maybe like support. The ground that they grow in is like pretty hard and they do just fine, right? And then on the other hand, maybe we have like a tropical plant. A tropical plant is very particular. It needs a lot of moisture. It needs a lot of water. It needs a lot of sunlight probably too. And it needs like just the right environment and then it will thrive. And if not, kind of withers and dies. What I see happen all the time with salespeople who I call plants, I see that they're just planted in the wrong environment. So you might be a cactus and you might be planted in this beautiful, lush, tropical environment. And you're like, Amber, I don't get it. I'm working my tail off. I'm working as hard as I possibly can. I'm doing everything that I need to do. And I don't understand why I'm rotting. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me that I'm rotting? And then I might have a tropical plant that's planted in a desert environment. And this tropical plant is like, I'm trying my hardest. I'm learning all the skills. I'm using all the tools. I'm saying things the right way. And I don't understand why I can't find success. I don't understand why I'm wilting. I don't understand why I'm turning yellow and I'm dropping all my leaves everywhere. Are these plants wrong for not thriving in an environment where they're not designed to thrive? Absolutely not. You'd never say that about a plant, but you might say that about a human. You'd be like, well, you should be more autonomous, or you should be less autonomous, or you should be more whatever. You should adapt yourself to fit the environment that you're in. I hope that this is ringing a bell for some of you, because there are some of you out here who need to just accept who you are. You need to be okay with who you are. And the very best thing you can do as you're doing this job search, as you're thinking about switching jobs, as you're considering whether you stay or whether you go, the very best thing you can do is do the self-discovery and become self-aware enough to know what you need. So this happened to me. Personal story time. I was working at a tech startup, and it was right after I had my very first child. I returned from maternity leave, and my team was taken out from under me. I had been a manager previous to that. I came back, and now my team was gone. They reported to other people, and I was now an IC. I had a new manager, and everything was different. I'm also a new mom for the first time, which if you haven't experienced that, it's wild. If you think about it, like, there's a human growing inside of you. And in order to have all the nutrients to build all those different pieces of that human, it pulls all those things from your body. So they talk about mom brain. And what I understand with my very unscientific knowledge is the baby is pulling the fat out of your brain to be able to build its brain. And so you literally can't think and can't remember like you would before. So you're coming back into the workplace. It's my first kid. I'm super sleep deprived. I'm trying to figure all this out. I'm trying to understand, like, how do I not feel horrible about leaving my child at home? And I still want to perform on this team, but everything's different. I have a completely different job. I have a new manager. Like, everything's a mess, right? So I'm in this new role, and I have high ambitions, obviously. The Achievers podcast. Let's talk about this. I have very high ambitions, very high expectations for myself, and I wasn't achieving. I was like trying to get new projects. I was trying to get a promotion. I was trying to like get the like fun, exciting things that other people were getting, and I just was falling flat. I wasn't succeeding at all. And I was so like in my head about it because I was like, it must be me. This is obviously a me problem. This is that like I'm not good anymore. My brain doesn't seem like it's working, which legitimately it probably wasn't. My brain doesn't feel like it's firing the same way before. Maybe I'm just not as valuable as I thought I would. And I legitimately just thought that maybe I had been delusional in the past. At past jobs, employers were so sad when I gave my notice. They were like, no, you're critical. You're crucial to the team. You're mission critical here. We want you here. Like, please don't leave. At one of my jobs, they offered to double my salary if I would stay, which I turned down because I was like, no, sorry. I want to go learn. I want to learn more. And this is not the place for that. So I was thinking about all these past times, and I was like, maybe I was delusional. I thought that I was a good employee. I thought that employers liked having me around, but maybe all of that was wrong, because right now in this current role, I am doing everything I possibly can to be successful, and I cannot find that success. And so I just gaslit myself to thinking like, maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was. Maybe I'm actually a horrible employee and I had no idea. So while I was at this job, I was doing a lot of leadership development training, and I remember I was researching stuff for a particular training I was putting together, and I came across this article from Harvard Business Review, and they were talking about a particular study that they did, or somebody did. And in the study, there's a third party who ranks the top Wall Street analysts, and they kind of wanted to know, is this nature or nurture? Are these people at the top of the list and top performers because they're just inherently successful people and they're going to be successful no matter where they are? Or is it nurture? Is there something about their environment that's making them more successful? And so they watched what happened when any of those top analysts moved to a new firm. They wanted to know, are they going to stay at the top of the list when they move to a different firm? And they found that only about 3%, I might be getting the numbers mixed up here, but only about 3% of the people stayed at the top of the list and were still top performers even after they moved companies. And they wanted to know if there were any similarities between those people. What they found was that in most of those cases, the people who stayed at the top of the list and moved firms took their entire team with them to the new company. Do you know what this means? They brought their environment with them. These people were successful because they planted themselves in the right environment, and they continued to be successful at a new company because they brought that environment with them. When I read this, I mean, I legitimately almost had tears coming to my eyes of like, oh my gosh, it's not me. It's not me. It's not that I'm a bad employee. It's not that I'm a failure. It's not that I'm never going to be successful. It's that I'm in the wrong environment. This is not the right manager for me. This is not the right environment for me. I can work and push and beat my head against my desk as much as I want, and this is never going to be successful. And that's okay. It's nothing that the environment is bad. It's not that I'm bad. It's just not a match for each other. So, is this cracking some things open for you? I hope that this is helping you to see that, yes, you might be a phenomenal employee and you might be at the wrong place. So, how do you know what kind of an environment is a good environment for you? Well, I like to separate it into two categories. As I'm doing the self-discovery and I'm doing the self-analysis and I'm figuring out like, what kind of a plant am I? Am I a cactus or am I an orchid? I don't know. As I'm thinking about what I need to know about myself, I break it into two categories. The first category is kind of like company, culture, everything about like the environment outside of me. And then the second category is my manager, my direct manager. I truly believe that your direct manager has more impact on your happiness, your satisfaction, your success than anything else in your job. If you aren't aligned with the right manager, then it's going to be very, very difficult for you to get where you want to go. But you've had those moments where you have had a supportive, wonderful manager that you relate to really well, and success comes so much more easily. So let me talk about some questions that you can ask yourself as you're doing this self-analysis. Feel free to pause as you're listening to this and like record a quick voice memo. Jot these down for yourself so that you can get a good idea. When I'm thinking about kind of the company and overall structure, I like to ask myself questions like, what size of company do I like to work at? Do I prefer more of like a 20,000 person company that has a lot of abundant resources and tons of training and a process that's like pretty well developed? Or do I prefer maybe more of like a 200 person company where it's big enough that I don't have to wear multiple hats, but small enough that I really kind of know everybody and I can make a really big impact? Or maybe I prefer like a 5-person company where I do get to wear multiple hats. I get to try lots of different things. I have a lot of variety in my work. And I get to feel like I'm really getting in there and building the company. Another question I like to ask myself is, what stage is this company at? Are they like seed round? Are they Series B, Series C, Series D? Are they publicly traded? Are they privately owned? What kind of company size am I looking for? And let me add a little caveat here. There will be some of these questions that are like very relevant and you will definitely have an answer to. And there will be a lot of these questions that you're like agnostic. Like, actually, it doesn't really matter. I could go with anything. So note the ones that you do have an opinion on, and also note the ones that you don't have an opinion on. So other questions I like to ask myself, is this a remote first company? Is this a hybrid company? Is this an in-office company? And what do I need? When do I thrive the most? I also like to ask about the sales cycle. So is there a particular persona that I really like selling to? Is there a particular industry that I really want to sell into? Is there a particular type of product that I like to sell? Do I prefer to sell something that's more like the plumbing and maybe I'm working at AWS or Google Cloud or something and I'm selling something that everybody needs, but it's more of a commodity? Or am I selling something that's more of going to have a direct impact on the bottom line of the revenue so I can tell a really interesting business case of why companies should buy this product? Is there a particular sales cycle that I like best? Do I prefer a really strategic 2-year sales cycle? This is legit. I've definitely had clients who've been there. Or do I prefer a much shorter, like 9 months, 6 months sales cycle that's a lot faster and I feel like I can get through more in a shorter period of time? Is there anything about the culture, or is it a mission-driven company? Is there anything about that is important to me as I'm looking for a new company? Okay, so those are some of the questions I ask myself about the company and the culture and the sales cycle. And then when we think about managers, the questions I always ask myself, and I take my clients through this exercise as well, is I'll ask them to think about the best managers they've ever had and the worst managers they've ever had. And again, we're not judging these people. We're not like, they're fine. They're just not a fit for us. Just not our energy style, you know? And when you think about this, it's helpful to think about any kind of leader that you've had. Maybe it was a coach or a professor or a teacher or a manager or any kind of person that's in a senior position and is telling you what to do. Think about the ones that you liked the most. What was it about them? How did they interact with you? What did they do differently that was such a good fit for you? Again, this is helping you to understand your plant style. Did they give you the autonomy that you needed? Did they give you the support that you needed? What did that look like? What felt like the best fit for you? And then I love to think about also the managers or leaders or coaches, whoever, that were not a good fit for me. What did they do that really didn't work? So now I'm making a picture of like the do's and don'ts for my type of plant. Once you've gone through this exercise and you've mapped out the ideal environment for you, then it becomes so much easier to go find it. I've talked about this in past episodes, but you have a part of your brain called the ascending reticulator activating system. And I might have said that wrong. It sounds weird in my brain, but we call it the ARAS. This is a part of your brain that's responsible for filtering information. So at any given moment, this is the craziest statistic I've ever heard. At any given moment, your brain has to process about 11 million pieces of information every second. Isn't that crazy? And in reality, it can only process maybe like 50. These are all pieces of information that are coming in from all of your 5 senses. And so the ARAS is the part of your brain that's responsible for filtering information out. This is the part of your brain that's activating when you buy a new car. So let's say you're looking for a new car, thinking about buying a new car, or you do buy a new car. And now that you have that car, you see it everywhere. You're like, what in the world? I thought this was like a new and unique car and nobody had it. And now I see everybody drives this car. I don't understand. I have a friend that he likes to do this with his son whenever they're out driving. He says, we're going to see if we can find any gold cars. Have you ever seen a gold car before? And his son's like, no gold cars. And he shows him like the power of manifestation and how you can find what you're looking for by looking for gold cars. So this is a part of your brain that filters out information that's relevant or not relevant. Once you have this image of what your ideal environment is, this part of your brain will start finding it. It's so fascinating. Like if we're looking for opportunities, we see them. If we're not looking for opportunities and we're looking for everything that's going wrong, that's what we're going to see instead. This part of our brain is looking to us to tell it what's most important. So those opportunities may have been in front of you the whole time, but this part of your brain was filtering it out because they didn't seem relevant. So now that you have an image of what you're looking for, it's going to be so much easier to go out and find it. And then once you do have those opportunities, maybe you're considering whether you should stay in your current job or whether you should leave, you can compare notes. Okay, I have an image, a clear image of what I'm looking for. Does this match what I have now? Are there things that I can do to change my current job to meet the kind of environment that I need? Could I have a conversation with my manager and say, hey, I've been doing some self-reflection. I know myself really well. If you want to motivate me, if you want to see me be really successful, this is how to do it. This is exactly what I need. Maybe there are ways where you can change your current environment to get what you're looking for. And if not, that's okay. It's not bad. You're not bad. Just not a good fit. And that's all right. So now you can go out and look for other opportunities. Once you have a clear picture of what you're looking for, I want you to go back to my last 2 episodes where I talk about interviewing and I talk about how to ask the right questions. Now that you know yourself, you can ask questions of your hiring manager to tell them who you are explicitly and what you need to be successful. And you'll find out in the interview if they're going to be a good fit for you. And you know kind of exactly the kind of manager that you're looking for now that you've done the work. Okay, I don't understand why I'm so out of breath. I'm so excited to tell you all about this. I hope that you take this information. I hope that it becomes really worthwhile for you. I hope that you go out and you find your dream job. I've helped many clients go through this entire exact process and find an interview and get their dream jobs. And I just want to let you know that you absolutely can be successful. Maybe you've had a string of bad jobs, but all it takes is the self-reflection and self-awareness to learn what you need most. And if you're a cactus and you're rotting in a tropical environment, it's not your fault. It's just not a good fit for you. And that's okay. I hope that this was helpful. If you want more amazing and also funny tips in your inbox, definitely come join my newsletter. You can get on the list at mentalmastery.com/newsletter. Every week I'll notify you when there's a new podcast episode out, and I will also send you another newsletter with one specific tool and tip that you can use that I've taught my clients that you can use this week. They're very fun and very short, and I would love to have you over there. So feel free. And if you want, you can come say hello to me on LinkedIn. Just search my name, Amber Deibert, and follow along. You'll get daily inspiration to help you get out of your own way and live up to your full potential. Thanks so much. I'll see you next week.